I wonder if this changes anything. Does this? Ah! Okay. It's because... Oh yeah, no wonder you couldn't hear my voice, because... Alright. So streaming goes to audio track 1, which has both the gameplay and my voice. And recording goes to audio track 2. Okay, alright. That's been fixed. Judging by the pioneer statues, it could be a kid's summer camp. What's that they got there? Are they... They're drinking. In Soviet Russia, we drink vodka from the bottle. Moreover, it appears to be open... Oh, it's a kid's summer camp. So, okay. In Soviet Russia, we drink orange juice. It's very nice. Moreover, it appears to be to be open. Of course, a simple explanation, logically speaking, explains nothing at all. The strange girl, the altered bus, summer, the pioneer camp. Thousands of theories went through my mind instantly, from alien abduction to lethargic sleep, from a hallucination to a time and space shift. None was worse than any other, but there really was no way to pick a single one. Then it occurred to me, I can try to make a phone call. I took out my cell phone and dialed the first number from my contact list. But instead of signal strength bars, the screen was showing a thick cross. Alright, there may be no signal in such a remote place, though I cannot be the only one who came here. Buses don't drive themselves. I don't know why I'm laughing, but yeah. I examined the bus from all sides to make sure it wasn't an hallucination. Bits of dirt on the bottom, some rust here and there, failed paint, worn out tires. No, this is definitely a very ordinary Icarus. Yeah, exactly the kind of bus which takes you to places beyond your understanding if you carelessly fall asleep. I gave a nervous chuckle. It came out by itself, sporadically, because this wasn't the right place or time to laugh. Where on earth is the driver? I cautiously sat down on the curb beside the bus and started to wait. My patience didn't last long. My anxiety seemed to have reached its peak, and I started to go slightly mad. In such a situation, anyone would have probably felt something similar. Aliens and parallel universes were gone from my imagination, leaving only void and darkness. Is this how everything will end? How my life will end? But I wanted to do so much. There were so many things I had no time for yet. I was overwhelmed by the idea. This was definitely the end. But why? It's not fair. Surely I'm no worse than anyone else. Chill, man. God, why? tears were burning my eyes unbearably. I curled up and started rolling in the grass. Why? What did I do? Why me? But my cries were only heard by the speechless statues of the pioneers and birds on a tree, which immediately flapped its wings and took off, crying out something in its own bird language as if laughing at the idiot who dared to interrupt its after-dinner nap. I was left breathless from weeping and just lay quietly, sobbing occasionally. After a while, I managed to pull myself together. My mind cleared up a bit, as if terror and the fear of death gave me a little break. All in all, if someone wanted to kill me, what is all this for? Doesn't look like an experiment either. This is just some crazy coincidence and there's probably no threat. Anyway, for now it seems there's no danger. The panic was soon gone. Of course, the blood was still pounding in my temples, and my hands were still shaking. At least I could think clearly now. Right now, there's nothing I can really change anyway. So no matter how much I think or how I get mad at it, it would only make things worse. You know, I wonder if there's a way you can make the text a bit larger. Until some actual facts appear. Wait, hold on. Oh. So it's not really that big. Till some actual facts appear, there is really no point in making guesses. In any case, I won't learn anything by lounging about here. This camp, if of course it really is a camp, looked like the only place where people could be. So I decided to go there, and hardly had I reached the gates when a girl came out from behind them, wearing a pioneer uniform. My logic didn't let me down this time. Then again, a pioneer uniform in the 21st century. And then again, a girl here. I froze, unable to take a step. I felt very much like running away. Running as far away as I could from this place. Far from this bus, gates, statues, and far from this bloody bird with its siesta. Just running, free like the wind, faster and faster, waving to the planets passing by, winking at the galaxies. Running, becoming a pulsar ray and turning into a vestigial radiation, running to face the unknown, run no matter where, as long as it is far away from this place. Meanwhile, that girl came closer and smiled. I could not help but notice her beauty, even though I was trembling with fear. Human instincts work independently of consciousness, and while only 5% of the brain is responsible for... Ah, man, just let her talk to you. Sustaining life, and in particular, ensuring stable functioning of the hormonal system. I desperately wanted to get less complicated and stop thinking in formal quotes as if from an encyclopedia, though my thoughts appear one by one, being stupid, out of place, as if taken from an internal monologue of the hero of some junky softcover crime fiction book. Bro. I bet you're a real hit at parties. A pretty Slavic face, long braids that looked like 2 armfuls of fresh hay, and blue eyes you could drown in. Hi, you must have just arrived. Yeah. Alright then, welcome. She smiled broadly. Strange. Looked as if I had a normal girl in front of me. I shouldn't have returned here. The woods and fields seemed better. What shall I do next? Oh, it's him. But what shall I do next? Try to speak with her as if she was human, or run away, or what? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart on the inside. A little more and the poor pioneer girl would have been splattered with the gruesome contents of my... Ugh! You think too much, man. What's so funny about that? The girl looked me over. It sent shivers down my spine, and my knees started to tremble. Nothing. Great then. Great. What's so great about that? Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. To hell with it all. Forget the bus behind me, the fact that it was winter yesterday and some... Would you happen to know... You should go to our camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look. You go straight ahead to the square, then turn left. You'll see several small cabins. She pointed at the gates as if I knew what was behind them. Dmitrieva. Well, you can ask someone where Olga Dmitrievna's cabin is. I, got it? Of course I didn't. Well, I've got to go now. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared through the gates. Seemed as if to her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the bus and the travels while awake or asleep were troubling only to me, while everything here is just the way it's supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. What are they doing? An historical reenactment here? Hope I won't find Lenin standing atop an armored car in this square. Even that would not surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. A mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house popped up on the left side. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened, and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering from the fate of the whole of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze, as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was the best to do. Approach first, or wait until she showed some initiative, or maybe run away after all. Although this last option was constantly being suggested by only my self-preservation instinct, at least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. I'm gonna stop reading this guy's thoughts, because he thinks a mile a minute. Suddenly, someone jumped out of the nearby bushes. It's... Such a perfect reproduction of the age. Hey! Good old analog synth. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling her something while wildly waving her arms. The other girl, in turn, seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I would have probably continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Eee! First girl squealed. She must not be too keen on insects, as she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers' and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. The USSR glanced at me, grinned playfully, and dashed after her. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there are some kids here role-playing as pioneers. Just gonna see what time it is. Okay. It's 8:30. And as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. Might even be a different reality. This was indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seemed so real, if a little embellished. I was starting to think that in fact my previous life could have just been a dream. What am I supposed to do now? Picking at the cracked paving stones of my shoe and staring aimlessly at the club's building. We need to find Olga Dmitrievna. Just a few more seconds before I have to come up with some decision. That's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass, weeping. I cringed in disgust. Yeah, man, that's cringe. Perhaps it's another instinct. When all energy from whimpering and self-pitying is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seems to have chosen the second option, but because out of the blue I found the determination to figure out what was going on. And in order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of a representative of my own world. I followed the path to the left, on the right side of which stood small cabins, apparently the homes of the local pioneers. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I'd never been part of its children's organizations, neither the pioneers, or even the younger October children. So if this guy was born in the Soviet Union, and this game was released in 2014, the Soviet Union collapsed in, was it 1989? So this guy would presumably be... He has to be older than 25. I imagine the daily life of a typical pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks, wake-up call at 6 o'clock played by a siren, 1 minute to make your bed, and joining the formation at the drill square. Or wait, could I be confusing it with something else? Suddenly something struck me on the back. I staggered but remained on my feet, turned around, and prepared to fight heroically for my life. I'm pretty sure no pioneer would be allowed to be dressed like that. You go to Gulag for dressing like a whore. Dressing like a thought. My mouth hung open in surprise. Pick your jaw up off the ground. I closed my mouth. The same pioneer uniform, but the way she was wearing it looked, let's say, provocative. Like all the girls I had met here before, this one was rather cute, but her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her better. New here, are you? Fine, see ya. She threw a threatening glance at me and walked past. I waited for the pioneer girl to turn at the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to. The most interesting thing was that even this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give off the feeling of some deadly danger. Except maybe the danger of getting punched in the nose. Oh, is that a statue of Lenin? At last I managed to make it to the square. There was no Lenin on an armoured car, although one could easily expect something like that after all this had happened. Instead, however, a monument to a certain comrade towered in the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read, Genda. Must be some big figure in the party. There were some small benches at the sides. Quite pleasant here. Where did that girl tell me to go? The left or the right? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Why am I going there anyway? Alright, I've decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. Through a small grove, I came out at a pier. Must have taken a wrong turn. Hey, wrong way. Turn towards the voice. Oh! It's the girl from earlier. This place has an interesting dress code. Now, what did I tell you? Take a left at the square, wasn't it? She had changed from her pioneer uniform into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavia. Actually, my full name's Slaviana, but everyone calls me Slavia. So you can too. Yeah. I still felt a bit confused, so I could not come up with more meaningful answers. And what's your name? I felt like she could see right through me. Semyon. Nice to meet you, Semyon. Semyon. Semyon? Alright, I'm almost done here. Would you wait here for a minute? I'm going to change and we'll go to Olga Dmitrievna together. Agreed? It's Semyon, not Semon. Damn it. After this exchange, she ran off. I sat on the pier and let my feet hang into the water. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather there was nothing wrong with getting my feet wet. Furthermore, it let me cool myself a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that has happened. This is some kind of conspiracy. It's a weird one, even too friendly at times. It really looks more like a random event. It's an entirely incomprehensible random event. Shall we go? Slavia was standing beside me, dressed in the pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all the people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. The fact that she's not suspicious is suspicious. We walk to the square. There's the slut and the Soviet girl, USSR. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. That's some kind of game they're playing. Uliana, enough running. I'll tell everything to Olga Dmitrievna. Aye, aye, Captain. I decided not to question Slavia for a while about what was going on to all the local residents. Better meet with this mysterious Olga Dmitrievna first. Sounds like she's the boss here. We walked past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavia stood in front of a smallish one-story cabin. It looked like an artist's painting. The faded paint, chopping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters, slightly ajar, were swaying almost unnoticeably in the wind, and huge lilac bushes were growing at the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in a storm of purple silk, and the lilacs, like some elemental force, were inexorably destroying the troop leader's house. What are you standing around for? Let's go! Slavia snapped me out of my daydreaming. Stop teasing Lena already. What? Rena? The hell was that? Sounds like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later, the girl swung open and Uliana ran out and dashed past with the same mischievous grin. The pigtail girl came out next. Don't let it bother you, Lena. So her name is Lena. Wait. Is Lena... Is this girl the same one? I'm a bit confused. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena, at least. But I don't... Instead of finishing her sentence, she blushed and quickly headed towards the square. For some reason with my eyes, but Slavia said, "Come." We entered the cabin. It's, yeah. Interesting room. Inside it looked something similar to what I'd imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time it felt homelike and cozy. Although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. The girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. So, yeah, I'm beginning to notice a certain theme around here. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. You're finally here. Excellent. My name is Olga Dmitrievna. I'm the camp leader. Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer. We've been expecting you since early morning. You've been expecting me? Yes, of course. And when does the next bus come? And why do you need it? Yeah, right, why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. People here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer. And I doubt I'd get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean. I wanted to send a letter to my parents to tell them I got here fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I would find something out. Oh, but your parents called just half an hour ago. Sent their regards to you. Now that's a surprise. So, can I call them? 'Cause I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here. Then how could my parents make a call to here? I've just come back from the district's central town. I talked with them there. Oh, so that's how it is? And can I somehow get to the town? No. She kept the same smile. Why not? Because the next bus only comes in a week. I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I'd get no answer anyway. All this time, Slavia was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. Oh, we need to find a uniform for you. I've got absolutely no idea to put on pioneer shorts or wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. However, these are his thoughts. Wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either. Right, thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange that someone's wearing a coat and winter boots in such heat. Rightio, I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I ended up alone with Slavia. I must go too. Got things to do. Take a walk. Look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening. If there's no threat or catch to this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavia, becomes more and more appealing. For the first time today, I realized that it was awfully hot here. Although obviously my winter clothes were to blame for that. I took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it. I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meantime. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming. Oh, so there are guys here too. And it really was a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently there are even men in this kingdom of Amazons. So it's not just a clam bake. Hello. You're new here. You must be Semyon, right? And how do you... Everyone knows already. I'm Electronic, by the way. The real one. You can call me that. Robot character appearing, so it's like an exact copy of a small kid called Sergei Chizakov. Chizakov! Electronic. The real one. Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Alright. Ulian also calls me Cheesy. Cheesy? On toast with mushrooms? Ugh. Because my last name is Chizakov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer, as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at the square again. As if this place was all there is to the camp. Lena was sitting on one of the benches reading some book. Electronic confidently approached her. Hello, Lena. You the new guy, Semyon. He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met, in a way. Yes. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that meeting this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that it was better that way. Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go! Next, we came to a building which I instantly identified as a canteen. And this here, I know, this is where you consume organic food. Yeah, something like that. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me on the back earlier, the slut. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in the blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he is quite hilarious. First, I need to figure out what's here, or at least where I am. Her, over there, that's Alisa Tvachevskaya. Alisa Tvachevskaya. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Tva means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Tvach. Oh, alright. It's a 4chan or 2chan reference. Don't ever risk calling her Tvacha. She doesn't like that. What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alisa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. Alright, you'll manage from here onwards. Electronic took to his heels. Do nothing. Alisa, running past, stopped for a moment and growled. I'll deal with you later. Deal with me? What did I do wrong? I added a forced guilty smile to my words. What am I guilty of? He made no reply. He carried on chasing Cheesenick. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone waiting for dinner. And for Alisa Tvachevskaya to kill me. I decided to go east, at least in the direction where east would be in my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. The game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself, and even thought of going professional. But a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of uncertain chance in the game. Kids at different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl of about 14 years old. The girl. Hey, that's Uliana. Right, she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey, you! Uliana shouted. Wanna play? I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot and without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around, and walked back. I was followed by Uliana's screams about my pants or me being a pansy or something like that. Evening was falling, making me tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench, and gave an exhausted sigh. I'd better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. You do give food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs to break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what's happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not matter which mechanism I serve as a gear in society, the Matrix, or what weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. It must be the dinner call. Dinner. I wonder what's for dinner. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing now that I knew where it was. Olga Dmitrievna was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her, as if I was expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Simeon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up here. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I'd had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with the occasional crack. Guess that's what a canteen in a prisoner camp is supposed to look like. Simeon, wait a moment. We'll find you a place to sit. She looked around the place. Tvatchevskaya, hold it right there. Tvatchevskaya, hold it right there. Olga Dmitrievna shouted at Elisa, who was passing by. What? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looked somewhat provocative. She's dressed like a hoe. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. All right, all right. Elisa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. So where can we find you a place to sit? There weren't a lot of free seats. Go over there, next to Uliana. Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too. I had no other choice but to accept. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare, the mashed potatoes generously seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. Compote is a drink made by boiling fresh or dried fruit in a large amount of water. Compote. But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist. Hey, what do you want? I replied rather rudely to Uliana, who was sitting next to me. Why didn't you play football with us? Because of my clothes, said I, pointing at the source of the problem. Alright then, eat. However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Uliana could have done it. Give me back my cutlet. In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It'll cost you a cutlet if you're careless. Give it back, I'm telling you. I looked at her menacingly and was about to reach out my hand. See, I don't have it. And Uliana's plate was empty. It seems that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets. Take it easy, we'll work something out now. She grabbed my plate up. What? About a minute later, Uliana returned and handed me the plate with a steaming hot cutlet on it. Here's one for the starving. Thanks, was all I could say. So that's compote, and this is cotleta. Peas and mashed potato? I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... What the... Some bug! No, not a bug. An insect! Oh, I didn't notice that. It's got legs and it's wiggling. The plate fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on my leg while falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but when these creepy crawlies appear on my plate, that's just way too much. You little... Uliana seemed ready for such a twist and was already at the door, laughing as if she just heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. What, but can't you just grab another plate? Aren't you hungry? We ran out the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I would catch this little girl easily. We ran through the square. Ugh. You don't need to go running after her like that. Past the club's house, and ran onto the forest path. How long is this chase going on for? I started to gasp for breath. I should have quit smoking, I guess. Uliana passed out of sight on the next turn. Can't be true that she had managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Night was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to the camp. However, I have absolutely no clue which way to go. Well, gotta choose at random. I wandered for quite some time in the forest and even thought of crying for help, but finally I saw the camp's fence beyond the trees. Everything fell back into place. The bus is gone, I mumbled quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't just stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant that there was someone driving, because buses do not drive themselves. Or do they? This world seemed too normal, but every event here and there had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary... Oh, hey! Hey, Seiko! Sorry, I didn't see your message earlier. Are you still watching the stream? Certainly the driver could have just been off for a snack and I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, this is not the place for me. Whether that bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important to know how I'd got there at all. The bus is gone, I mumbled quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't just stay on there forever. On the other hand, it meant that there was someone driving, because buses... Wait, hold on. Haven't I already seen this? And where this here was, the fields and the woods stretching towards the horizon, had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. A strange, odd, and alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely not frightening. Either my self-preservation instinct had decided to resign from its job, all this running around the camp of the local pioneers had lulled me so much with their carefree normality, I was simply forgetting what had happened to me just a couple of hours ago. Although I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I wanted to just have a break from it all. And only after that would I continue looking for answers, ready and reloaded. However, that would be some time later. What about now? Can I allow myself to relax? It got completely dark, and in any case it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind. Hello, what are you doing here so late? It was Slavia, standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped. So you didn't catch a liana, did you? She smiled. I nodded disappointedly and sighed. No wonder. No one ever has. Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use for her energy than looking for adventures. You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have... You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner after all. Didn't he have a whole conversation in his head earlier about how humans' preservational instincts and fears can be overcome by things like hunger? And now we find out that he's completely forgotten about his hunger. Of those words, my stomach drew attention by giving itself a traitorous rumble. Slavia smiled. Let's go then. What, is the canteen still open? It's all right, I have the keys. The keys? Yes, I have keys to all the facilities in this camp. How come? Well, I'm something like the camp leader's aide here. She's cute. I like her. I see. Well, let's go. It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Slavia stopped in her tracks. Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll be worried otherwise. You go on to the canteen and I'll come in a minute, okay? Alright. I really did not expect to find somebody, aside from myself, there at such a late hour. And that somebody was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. Without any secret thoughts, I walked up to the porch. The lockpicker turned out to be Alisa Tlachevskaya. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while, then said, "Well, just stand there, give me a hand or something." Meaning? Help me open the door. Why? Because I want some buns and kefir. Dinner wasn't big enough. She's like a carne. She's even dressed like her, too. Is that really a good idea? Aren't you hungry yourself, huh? Uliana didn't let you have a normal dinner, did she? She smiled sarcastically. It's true, she didn't. It's fine. Slavia will come now and... What? Guess I shouldn't have said that. I'm off then. And you'll pay for this. You owe me 2 already. Having said that, Elisa disappeared into the night. What was the first one? Slavia didn't keep me waiting for too long. Everything alright? Yeah, why are you asking? No reason, it's nothing. It would be better if I didn't tell her about Elisa. Everything's fine. I said that and immediately heard a note of dishonesty in my voice. Well, shall we go? As for Slavia, she seemed not to have noticed anything. Or at least, she was pretending she hadn't. We entered the canteen. Oh. Nice. Quiet this time of night. Wait a bit, I'll go get something. I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savior. There's a distinct difference in the style of background art and cutscene art. Not to mention the animated cutscenes like the one for the opening that we saw. My dinner was simple. A few buns and a glass of kefir. No wonder. I bet hungry pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than most of my usual diet. Slavia sat across the table and looked at me while I was eating. Is there something on my face? I like her, she's pretty moe. No, just... She smiled. So how did you like your first day in the camp? I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found himself in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or his assigned hut. It's alright, you'll soon get used to it. Slavia stared out the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things, but as for her, she doesn't know. At least she wants me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence. Do you think so? She asked without any interest. Yeah, this place is so... I wanted to say retro, but managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me, but what about them? Might be the only kind of life they knew. If the term life was applicable here at all. So how? She watched me closely, as if something important depended on my answer. Well, I don't know. Lovely! Yeah, it's lovely here! I guess you're right. She smiled again. It's very good that you think so. Why? Well, not everybody likes it here. What about you? Me? Yes. I love it here. It's great. You don't need to worry about what other people think. Well, I don't really worry. Slavia laughed. This conversation seemed to be leading me far astray from where I wanted to go. And you're worried yourself. Really? Why do you say so? When someone is chewing so intensely, I'm sorry. It's okay. I couldn't bring myself to be more cautious around this girl. But why her in particular? Why not any other local inhabitant? Every one of them looked completely normal to me. Precisely normal. So normal it sends chills down my spine and into my marrow. Normal, not like a neighbor with a power drill in one hand and subwoofer in the other. Not like a passenger you can often meet in a subway or on public transport. Not like a co-worker at the next table in the open plan office. And not even like a friend who only differs from other humans in his constant insistence. All of them look normal, as I would expect them to be, with their own downsides, but without any superpowers. And Slavia was also cute? Yeah, man, she's cute. I glanced at her stealthily, not knowing what to say. I'm sorry, I wanted to show you the camp, but was ran off my feet. I didn't miss anything while on my own, I guess. You sure you haven't missed anything at all? She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my eyes in confusion. How would I know? It's my first day here. Okay, and what have you seen so far? I've seen the square, this canteen, the football field. What about the beach? Just from afar. You really should go there. Or let's do it together. Okay, we will. Her naturalness started to scare me, but then I thought, if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be, and this world looks strange only to me, while for them it is normal? Maybe I was thrown into the past. Yes, that would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question? No. No, you may not. Slavia smiled and stood up from the table. It's late. So we're never gonna get back to... He just got BTFO'd. Can you find the way to Olga Dmitrievna's by yourself? Of course I can, but why should I go there? I'm still laughing over that. She'll settle you with someone. What for? Probably this question seems stupid because Slavia bursted into good-natured laughter. You need to sleep somewhere, right? That makes sense. Fine, I'll be off then. Good night. Night. Strange that she left in such a hurry. A bundle of keys left in the door lock caught my attention. I was going to catch up to Slavia, but where did she live? And knocking on every door in the middle of the night didn't seem like a bright idea. Should I take the keys or shall I leave the keys? I'm gonna take the keys. I better take them. I'll give them back tomorrow, because who knows what happens here at night. Such thoughts gave me chills. It's me who needs to be careful here in the first place. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. One could hear chirping crickets, the songs of the night birds, and rustling trees from everywhere. A sudden desire to follow Slavia's advice and go to the camp leader's cabin appeared. I don't know why, but the sight of the unknown bronze builder of communism put me in a constructive mood. I sat on the bench and started to recall everything that happened today. That was all my constructive mood could offer. It was much brighter near the canteen, and tardy pioneers were running by, so this place didn't seem scary at all. Bus, summer camp, girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that I could not come up with a single explanation for what was going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. Oh my God, is that... I shivered and looked in that direction. I've got a feeling... It's Uliana, isn't it? Oh. Oh no, it isn't. A girl reading a book. It's Lena! I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without exchanging even a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Never mind. She blushed and stared at the book again. So what are you reading? On the cover was written, Gone with the Wind. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's a good book. Thanks. Honestly speaking, I haven't read it, but I think that such literature suits her very well. Lena didn't seem to be interested in continuing the conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you... No, she answered while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while? Why? And really, why? Maybe just because I was very tired and having company is better than being alone. Maybe I wanted to try find something else out from her. I carefully examined Lena, but no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm allowed to? Feel free. But if I'm bothering you... No, you're not. I can leave, just say. Everything's alright. Okay then. I sat on the edge of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted. But it would be nice to just stand up and leave. It didn't really go well, huh? Lena hasn't answered anything. Seems I made a fool out of myself. Bet if Ilyana was here, she'd have a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled the Slavia's question and thought it would be a good start for the conversation. Yes. She smiled slightly. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easily as Slavia. Ah! Oh, crap, Where's... What did I just do? Okay. Okay, so you can use the trackpad. And really, why? Maybe it was very tired and having company is better than being alone. And maybe I wanted to try to find something out from her. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. What? Oh, I've already done this. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence, and I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or this world in general. Beautiful night. Yes. How in the world would you start a conversation with her? It's late, I have to go. Yes, it's quite late. Good night. Night. There was something strange about this girl. At first glance, she's typically shy and a modest pioneer girl, but the mystery of Lena took its own place in the massive list of mysteries about this camp, which I had started to put together in my head. A lazy evening. There's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. I headed to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. The light was on. Hello, Semyon. You're quite late. Yeah, I went for a walk to look around the camp. Alright, you'll be sleeping here. She pointed a finger at one of the beds. Wait, so we're gonna be sharing this place together? Yeah, something wrong? We're out of free cabins anyway. The camp leader smiled, but I rather think it was out of politeness. You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you? There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I was lost in thought for a moment. Don't ya mind it, mademoiselle? Why would he say that? She looked at me oddly. with surprise and some offense in her eyes. A pioneer should respect their elders, Olga Dmitrievna said strictly. Of course he should, no one argues with that. I blathered, not realizing what was wrong. Shouldn't you also? She stared at me. Under such a gaze, even mithril forged by the best dwarf masters from the deepest dungeons would melt. This guy is a nerd. Should I... what? What's up, Toots? Oh. Annoyance and a lack of understanding made me raise my voice. You must address adults appropriately. Yes, of course, there are a lot of strange things, but this girl is just a couple years older than me. Wait, how is that possible? If this game was released in 2014, and this guy is old enough to remember growing up in the Soviet Union... Wait, hold on. I need to do a quick Google check and see what date the Soviet Union officially collapsed. Make sure that I'm understanding Russia's history right. But I decided not to argue. While just a few minutes ago I would never have called her an adult, I had to admit she was also a strong character. Hey, you should be grateful that she didn't have you imprisoned and sent off to a gulag. You just insulted her. Hey, by the way, what the heck is that? What is that? Some kind of webcam video from a... Is that an actual human face, or is somebody wearing a bag over their head? What the hell is that? It's creeping me out. And in any case, I wasn't in a position to... As you say, ma'am, I mumbled. That's much better. That is how a decent pioneer shall conduct himself. And now it's time to sleep. Honestly speaking, I was going to become neither a decent nor an indecent pioneer. Just yesterday, I wasn't going to become a pioneer after all. But do I have a choice now? If you don't want to, we'll make you. This is the motto Olga Dmitrievna was probably going to use. I climbed onto the bed and closed my eyes, only to realize how tired I was after today. Something hammered into my head awfully, as if my brains had started a night shift, and they seemed to be aimed more at rolling steel than working on something more sensitive. The bus flew through my mind, and the square with the monument, the canteen full of pioneers, and the malicious face of Uliana. Slavia, Lena, and even recalling Elisa didn't give me too much of a negative feeling. What if I'm here for good? Good. Okay, I think I'm gonna save the game here and end the